Hey everybody, welcome back to another Tutorial Tuesday with FB Designs. I am Rob, your host, and normally I would have a preview to show you, but for whatever reason, when I saved it, it corrupted. So, we are going to have to do this from scratch. I'm sure you can tell by the title what it is. It's a gradient motion background. They are quite simple to put together, so without further ado, let's get this rolling. All right, jump on over to After Effects. We are going to create a new composition. We are going to name it Main Composition. 1920 by 1080 is good. Frame rate of 30, that's fine. 10 seconds should be good enough. Okay. Then immediately, we're going to create another composition. We are going to name this Gradient, and by golly, I'm going to spell it correctly this time. Same settings as the main comp. Click OK. Okay, we're going to make sure that we're in the gradient setup here. We're going to go make a background. Now this background in here is only going to be temporary. You can make it whatever color you want. You could add gradients to it. We'll discuss that here in a few minutes. Let's name this BG for background, just to keep everything nice and organized. And then what we want to do is we want to make sure nothing is selected, and we're going to go to the top. We're going to get our shape tool and grab our ellipse tool. We want to make sure you got a solid fill line. The color doesn't matter. We're going to make it so you can change that color to whatever you want. Click OK, no stroke. And then left click, hold down shift, and pull a circle open. The reason why you're holding down shift is so the circle is perfect. Otherwise you get stuff like that. So as soon as you hit shift, it'll correct itself, and you could just move your mouse in and out to make it whatever size you want. We're going to make it about this size. Okay, then we're going to jump over here to our effects and presets. We are going to throw a fill in here. You can drop it down here, or you can drop it right here. It does not matter. And for this, I think we're going to go with a blue sort of theme, blue and green. I seem to like those colors quite a bit. So let's type in drop. We want to add a drop shadow. Okay, we want to change it from black. Since our background is black right now, we want to change it. Well, in this case, I'm going to make it a lighter blue. Then we're going to take our opacity is fine. We're going to take our distance, and we're going to move it out slightly. Just like that. Now you can increase the opacity. It's just going to change the way your total thing comes out, how it looks. In this case, we'll go ahead and leave it like it is. I think I want to bring out this shadow just a little bit further. Okay, and then we want to make sure our layer is selected. Hit Control D. And this one we're going to take and we're going to move it on down. Click on one of the corners while holding your mouse. Hit Shift. And now we can shrink them both to the same size. Let go. We're going to take this shadow. We're going to move it in a little bit. We want it closer to our other dot. We're going to take these colors and we're going to pick out some nice colors. Again, you can pick out whatever colors you like. For me, I'm going to go with green. That's a little bit too close to the... It was a little too close to this color. So for this, you can go a little bit darker. It doesn't matter. Again, it'll just make your final outcome just a little bit different. Okay. Next, we want to come back down to this first shape layer. Hit Control D. We want another copy of it. We're going to move this one on off to the side here. We will take and shrink this down. Remember, left click on your mouse and then hit your shift button. And we will make it about that size. We're going to take this shadow, we're going to move it in a little bit, and then we're going to change this blue just slightly. I want a little bit lighter of a blue, and this one here, we'll make that just slightly darker, something like that. Then we're going to take this, we're going to take our shape layer 1, we're going to hit Control D again, and this time we're going to move this down, and we're going to shrink this again, left mouse click, hold, and there we go. We'll take this shadow, we'll move it in, and we're going to take these colors. I think we're going to add a little bit darker of a green for this, and then maybe a brighter green, but we don't want it to be the exact same as the other one. Try to keep all your colors a little bit different. Okay. I want to take this one and just kind of move it up a little bit. Really, you just want a little bit of randomness here. It's really no big deal. Okay, now we want to click our background layer, hit Control and X. Don't worry, nothing happened to it. Go on over to your main, hit Control V, and there's our background. Next, we want to make sure we're on our project. We want to go to Gradient, and we want to drag that down above the background. Okay, next step is we want some turbulent displace right here. Now this one you want to be a little bit careful with because it will adjust where you can see your patterns on the screen. It's a little difficult to explain, but because of this and some other effects that we use, it just makes things a little difficult. So take your amount, turn it down to about 20. Doesn't have to be perfect, just somewhere around 20. You don't want too much of it. Take your complexity, turn it up between 2 and 3. Again, you don't want much of that, and everything else is good. We'll leave that alone. Okay, next we want to take and we want to do a twirl. Drop that on. This here, we're going to come back to this for a second. We want directional blur. Oh, that was the wrong blur. I'm sorry about that. Oh, here we go. That's the right one. I'm trying not to use any plugins that aren't native to. I'm going to take it and drag this up top. Any plugins that aren't native to After Effects for everybody. The order of this really doesn't matter, but it should have been how I set it up to begin with. All right, so the blur length, we want to jack this up pretty high. We're going to go about 500. If you don't like how it did that, you can go 600, and it'll blur it even more. Let's try. Let's try 700. Oh, no, that's the twirl. Let's reset that back to where it was. Oh, what did I do here? Okay, obviously I deleted it. There we go. All right, let's change this to, let's see how 700 is. It's just going to elongate it. So, okay, now we can go down here to our twirl. We're going to turn our twirl all the way up. Now, here's where the magic starts. And you can twist this around to wherever you want. I kind of like to start it, like this. And it all depends on which way you want everything to flow to. Again, this is stuff that you'll see what I'm talking about here in a minute. But let's go with something like that. If you change your twirl center, you can move it over a little bit. Try to leave it in the center because this has a lot to do with the placement, which is what I explained earlier. Okay, so now we got our base of it set up. we're going to lock this one. We're going to go up here to View. We're going to go to New Viewer. Then we're going to jump on over here to Gradient. Now is when you can start setting up the rest of your look. Hit Control D, and again, you don't have to follow this, but you'll see what's going to happen here in a second. And there we go. Now, when we move these, we're going to move around. See, now, if you have too much twirl, you won't be able to reach this part of the screen over here. So this was what I was talking about. You got to be careful with how much twirl you use. Now we got a good start on that. We could take all these and kind of move them around too, so they fill in the black. Again, you don't have to leave it black. And then you can just start taking like random shapes, moving them around. If you want more blue in one area, you can get more blue. So you can even overlap it so it comes out a little bit brighter sometimes. Or it'll go over the top of it in this case, like that. And then we could create some more green. Just like that. Basically what you want to do is you just want to go through and kind of fill it out. There we go. I like that. A little bit more green right there. Now, of course, you can do stuff like take these, hit Control D, grab one of these points, left click, hold down, hold Shift, and we can blow it up. And then you can move it in the middle, start filling in more space. Then you can click off of these, you could take these, and you can move them around. So you get a little bit more variety in what's going on. Like that. But basically, you want to take and fill in the blanks. It's pretty simple. Let's see, where's that? It's probably this gap. This gap here is probably this gap here. So we can do something like, let's take one of these smaller ones here. One of these smaller blues and drop it down there. Oh, no, wrong gap. Oh, there we go. We're starting to get into the area. Right there. There we go. See, all you got to do is just move it around and you'll see where there's areas that you might want to fill in. Now, keep in mind, this is going to be moving, so it's all going to change. But what's not going to change is areas like these black areas. This is why I said you can go ahead and add a gradient background or something like that. Okay, so let's we'll do another one. We'll move it in. Let's see if we can't find, where's that spot at? Is that over there? There it is. We found that black spot right there. And if you move it around, you can kind of get it all filled in eventually. Let's take a copy of this blue. We will move it down. There we go, kind of liven that up. And let's see, let's take another copy of this blue. Let's move it on down here. Now, I'd like to find this other black part up here. See, again, this twist. Oh, that looks kind of sharp. I like that. Okay, yeah, something like this. Now, this over here, just click in this area, hit Control A to select everything. Right click, go to Pre-Compose, name it something simple like Shapes. Click OK. Next, what we want to do is hit P on our keyboard. We're going to throw a keyframe on that. Go down to the end of our composition. And now, well, we don't want that, so let's clear that. Take it about halfway. Now, if you'll notice, we have a whole bunch of black back here, and our gradient is running out. So to take care of this, what we want to do is go to CC Repa Tile. Drop that on our shapes composition, and it's going to be to the left. You're just going to drag it out until it fills it all the way out, and there we go. Take your repeat. You can use different repeats. Like let's try that. For the one that I did, it was unfold, and it just basically mirrors it. So, but you can, mess around with it, obviously. So, let's close this down, and let's give this a look, and there we go. A gradient motion background. And that's how they do that. Now you could do this with other shapes, but once you twirl it, that's really not going to matter. And once you do the blur, that's not really going to matter either. So, but it will kind of add different, like a square will add more of these like spikes right here. Now, of course, you can always, let's just preview this real quick. And there we go. It's a little jerky right now because of doing the RAM review, but once it goes all the way through, it'll be a lot more fluent. Now you can also do things like you can create a new adjustment layer. You don't really have to name it. I usually do. I try to keep everything nice and organized. Like for this, we're going to add a little bit of noise to make it so it doesn't look like it was computer generated. We're going to add noise to that. Now, normally I would add that noise just so everybody knows. And you don't want to go overboard with noise because then that happens. But this will break up any type of banding that people might see on their monitors or whatnot. So, and it kind of gives it a little bit of a dirty feel, like it's not perfect. And you can see it in the gradients here. So here, just to make sure I'm teaching everybody right, let's rename that to noise. Then we're going to make another one. New adjustment layer. We will name this one curves. Go on over here, find our curves. Go ahead, add that, and we just want to add a little bit of contrast. See how much deeper the colors look when we do that. And then just grab this up here. This is what you call putting an S curve on it. You'll see this throughout a lot of tutorials. I think it's awesome. It makes your stuff just pop out. And there you go. A gradient motion background. I hope all of you have enjoyed this. I hope everybody out there is being safe right now. I know the world's going through a lot of stuff right now. Just please, everybody, be safe. Practice social distancing. Do your part. This isn't going to solve itself. So with that being said, I will see everybody for the next tutorial. Take care.